In 1968, a retired mailman in Pennsylvania kept a coffee can under his kitchen sink. Every evening after supper, he emptied his pockets into it. A nickel from returning bottles, a dime from helping a neighbor, a few quarters from errands nobody wrote down. By Christmas, that coffee can paid for groceries, small gifts, and a winter coat for his wife. That was how small money worked before everything became digital. It passed across kitchen tables, through newspaper classifieds, and folded bills, in church basements, corner stores, spare bedrooms, and quiet conversations between people who trusted each other. Before the internet, Americans did not always need a storefront to earn. Sometimes they needed a good name, a little patience, and the sense to notice what someone needed before they asked. Number 14 helped immigrant families survive in American cities. Number 7 was how many teenagers earned their first real money. Number 3 could save a family hundreds of dollars without earning one extra cent. And number 1 was not a job at all. It was a person every town used to depend on. These are 20 ways Americans made money before the internet. Number 20. Newspaper routes. Before sunrise, kids rode bicycles through cold streets with newspapers stacked in canvas bags. They tossed papers onto porches, collected weekly payments, and sometimes got Christmas tips from loyal customers. When newspapers declined, this little business faded away. Most kids did not think of it as business training. They just knew the papers had to land on the porch before breakfast. A newspaper route taught responsibility before most kids even had a driver's license. Number 19. Bottle collecting. Old America had coins lying in parking lots, ditches, alleys, and picnic areas. Glass soda bottles could be returned for a few cents each. Kids filled wagons and bike baskets, then walked to the corner store to trade trash for money. Disposable packaging made it less common. But the idea was sharp. Look where others do not look, and you may find money they walk past. Number 18. Taking in boarders. A spare bedroom used to be income. A widow rented to a factory worker. A family hosted a young teacher. A couple took in a traveling salesman. That room helped pay taxes, groceries, coal, or the mortgage. As privacy became more important, the habit faded. But with housing costs high again, an empty room does not look so empty anymore. A quiet room once kept a household alive. Number 17. Canning and selling preserves. Picture a farmhouse kitchen in August. Peaches on the counter. Tomatoes in baskets. Jars boiling on the stove. Families canned food for winter, but some sold extra jam, pickles, and preserves at church fairs or roadside tables. Supermarkets made food available all year, and the habit became rare. That part did not feel like a business back then. It just felt like common sense. A good jar of jam could turn one summer afternoon into grocery money. Number 16. Typing papers and letters. Before computers, fast typing was a valuable skill. A woman with a typewriter could earn from resumes, school papers, business letters, church newsletters, and legal forms. People paid because clean typed pages looked professional. Computers made the typewriter disappear from kitchen tables. But the value behind it stayed. If you could make someone look organized, clear, and ready, they paid you for it. Number 15. Door-to-door sales. Not every salesman was slick. Some were local people selling brushes, cookware, encyclopedias, makeup, or insurance. They carried sample cases, knocked on doors, and learned how to handle rejection face-to-face. The money came from commission. The skill came from courage. Online shopping changed the habit, but before clicks, there were handshakes. But after those first few, the pattern starts to show. The first money habits were not loud. They were built around things people already had. A newspaper, a spare room, a kitchen stove, a typewriter, a little extra time after work. Before the internet, opportunity often arrived as a neighbor saying, "Do you know anyone who can help?" and the person who could answer that question often made money. Number 14. Street food carts. In American cities, food carts helped many families get started. Hot dogs, pretzels, roasted peanuts, coffee, tamales, sandwiches, one cart, one recipe, one busy corner. They earned by standing where hungry people already were. Factories, train stations, sidewalks, construction sites. Permits and rising costs made it harder. The smart ones did not wait for hungry people to come to them. They parked the cart where workers were already walking by. Number 13. Laundering and ironing. Before every home had modern machines, laundry was hard work. Women washed shirts, pressed uniforms, folded linens, and returned clean baskets to busy families. The money came from doing work other people were tired of doing. Machines and laundromats changed the routine. Still, the reason it worked was simple. A clean shirt on Monday morning mattered. Number 12. Backyard eggs. Chickens were not always a hobby. For many families, they were a little income system. A mother collected eggs in the morning and sold extras to neighbors in reused cartons. Grocery chains grew, and many towns restricted backyard animals. But the old math was hard to ignore. If your backyard produced food, your grocery bill got smaller. An egg was breakfast. A dozen eggs was money. Number 11. Running errands for older neighbors. Before delivery apps, trusted local helpers did the small jobs. A teenager picked up medicine, mailed letters, carried groceries, or walked to the butcher. The pay was small, but the reputation was valuable. Now here is what nobody talks about. A lot of old American money came from being known. Known as reliable. Known as careful. Known as the person who showed up. One satisfied neighbor told another, and a small favor became steady income. Number 10. Scrap metal collecting. Behind barns, garages, repair shops, and factories, old metal had value. Copper wire, brass fittings, aluminum cans, radiators, old appliances. People loaded trucks and sold scrap by weight. It looked dirty, so many people ignored it. But old-timers knew better. Heavy trash could become heavy money. Number 9. Supper clubs. In some towns, a good kitchen became a business. A woman cooked beans, cornbread, pot roast, pie, and coffee for workers, boarders, or church groups. It was not fancy food. It was the kind of meal a tired man wanted after a long shift. Restaurants and fast food spread everywhere, but people do not only pay to eat, they pay to feel cared for. Number 8. Music lessons at home. A piano in the living room once earned money. Children came after school to learn scales, hymns, Christmas songs, guitar chords, or trumpet practice. Parents paid weekly because music taught patience and discipline. Screens changed the habit, but parents still pay for trusted teachers. For some families, the living room piano quietly helped pay the light bill. Number 7. Babysitting. For many teenagers, babysitting was their first real income. A girl down the street watched children while parents went to dinner, church, work, or the movies. She earned because families trusted her. Neighborhoods changed, but the need never disappeared. Parents still need reliable help. A good babysitter did not need ads. Mothers told other mothers. Number 6. Roadside stands. Old rural roads were full of small money, sweet corn, tomatoes, melons, peaches, honey, apples in paper bags. A family put a table near the road, wrote prices on cardboard, and waited for cars to slow down. Supermarkets made it less common, but people still stop for something that feels honest. A roadside stand sold food, but it also sold trust. Number 5. Church network jobs. Before online marketplaces, the church bulletin was a local economy. Someone needed a cake. Someone needed curtains shortened. Someone needed a ride. Someone needed help setting up a reception. People earned because the community already trusted them. Before online reviews, people had word of mouth. The last 5 are where the old money mindset becomes clearer. These were not just side jobs. They were old American money habits hiding in plain sight. A driveway, A bargain. A newspaper ad. A person who knew everyone. The closer we get to number one, the more you see the real secret. Before the internet, money did not always come from working harder. Sometimes it came from noticing value before anyone else did. Number 4. Renting parking space. Near factories, stadiums, fairs, and downtown offices, a driveway could become cash. A homeowner put out a sign, waved cars in, and collected money. During ball games, parades, and county fairs, empty space became valuable. Sometimes the thing earning money was not a skill at all. It was a spot nobody else had. Number 3. Buying used. A father bought a used washer. A mother bought winter coats after Christmas. A young couple furnished a house from estate sales and classified ads. They did not call it being cheap. They called it staying ahead. Credit cards, easy payments, and advertising made new things feel like success. But some families survived because they wasted less. Buying used was not a downgrade. It was how they kept breathing room in the budget. Number 2. Classified ad flipping. Before online marketplaces, Americans studied newspaper classifieds with a pen in hand. A dining table was priced too low. A refrigerator had to be sold fast. A garage full of tools was being cleared out. Smart buyers spotted the gap. They bought cheap, cleaned items up, moved them across town, and sold them for more. The newspaper did not look exciting. But for the right person, it showed who needed money, who needed space, and who needed something gone by Friday. Number 1. The neighborhood connector. Every town had someone who knew everybody. He knew who needed a used car, who had a room for rent, who was hiring, who needed a piano moved, who had tools for sale, who wanted extra work. Sometimes he earned a finder's fee. Sometimes he got paid for the introduction. Sometimes money came later because people remembered he was useful. A connector did not need inventory, a storefront, or startup money. What he really needed was a good memory, a trusted name, and the patience to listen when people talked. The person who knew who needed what could always find a way to earn. That may be the oldest money trick in America. Before the internet, money did not always look like a business. Sometimes it looked like a coffee can under the sink, a spare room with clean sheets, a driveway near the stadium, or a neighbor who knew your name. People did not call it entrepreneurship. They called it getting by, and maybe that is why these old habits still feel familiar. They were small, ordinary, and quiet, but for a lot of families, they made the difference. A room became rent. A stove became supper money. A classified ad became a bargain. A good name became repeat business. And a few coins in a coffee can become Christmas. The internet changed how Americans earn. But it did not change the old rule underneath it all. Pay attention to what people need. Take care of your reputation. And small money can become something bigger than it looks. Comment below. Which one of these old money habits did your parents or grandparents actually use? And if you enjoy forgotten ways Americans earned, saved, and survived before everything went digital, subscribe for more stories from old America.